Hey guys, my name is Shirley Whiteside. Welcome to B.Unique Chit Chats, where we talk about Jesus, life, and marriage. On today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about how my husband and I were able to plan our entire wedding in 3 months. And no, we did not go to a courthouse. Let's get into it. I think it's important before we even get to that topic to talk about the beginning of Kobe and I's relationship. I'm talking about the very first week of us dating. Let's just say the day we met, we started dating a week later. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about the conversations that Kobe and I had at the very beginning and that very first week of us dating. When we sat down, I told Kobe that I did not have any desire to be dating for longer than a year. I made it very clear that the goal of us dating was to marry. And that was his intentions from the very beginning also. On my end, however, when we met, I was finishing up my senior year of college, but I still had one more semester left of school. And so I told him, you know, you're dating me at this awkward time in life. You have 6 months to a year to marry me. Like, I need to know that we're going towards marriage, not going away from marriage. And you will hear a lot that to not put a timeline on what God has for you. And I 100% believe that. I 100% understand that. But I think in my life, in my position where I was in time, I graduated December 15th of 2023. We met October of 2022. That was only so much time before I was going to graduate, cross that stage, and get on with my life career-wise. I'm a sole believer that I'm not making plans with anyone if we're just dating. Like, I'm not going to move across the country to be with you because, oh, we're dating, we're going to be married. There needed to be a ring on my finger. There needed to be some indication that we would be doing life together. So that's where I was on my end. So after we have those conversations, Kobe is like, okay, I'm going to continue to pray. I'm going to continue to see if you're the one for me, if I'm the one for you. Let's get in our prayer closet. Let's fast. Let's do all these things. And every month that we were dating, we were getting to know each other a lot more, which is what I wanted and needed on my end going into my last semester of college. So we started dating in October of 2022. Fast forward to July of 2023, Kobe gets the opportunity to move to Texas to become a full-time teacher at his high school that he graduated from. For me, I pushed him towards that because, one, if you feel like God is telling you to go, your first thing is to be strapping up your boots and packing your bags and on your way out the door, no matter what. Your first instinct is to follow God. And when God says go, baby, you go. So he moved to Texas. He got a full-time job teaching here. And we did long distance. I'm located in Missouri. He's located in Texas. Phone calls, a lot of traveling to see each other. And we just made it do what it do. You might be asking, why are you doing that? You just said that you're not going to be moving your life around to go across the country to be with, yeah, I understood. But the thing is, we went ring shopping before he moved. We're having conversations before he moved. We're talking about when and what months to start premarital counseling. He's already talking to my family about putting the ring on my finger. And the whole time, obviously I didn't know this at the time, he moved to Texas in July and he had a ring for me in August. So yeah. Like I said, I needed some kind of indication that we were going to be engaged or we were going to be married. And he gave me that without telling me every single thing. The conversation that we were having, the conversation that we both were having with our mentors, I was preparing myself to be a wife. While he was in Texas getting a full-time job so he could provide as the head of our household before popping the question, getting his first apartment and making sure it's furnished before, I come to Houston and we're trying to figure out our life. We talked about October when we first met. July is when he moved to Houston, Texas. We started long distance. There was a lot of traveling. There was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of conversation. There were some days where we did not talk, where we couldn't talk because I was a busy college student. He was a football coach. He was a mentor. He was working full-time as a teacher. And so he ended up proposing December 15th, 2023. That's the exact same day of my graduation. So I graduated from the University of Missouri on December 15th. And then after that, he asked me to be his wife. Him asking me to be his wife on the day that I graduate, in my eyes, I'm like, that's so funny, because you go back to our first conversation, or one of our first conversations, and I'm like, you have 6 months to a year. First of all, I need to have an indication that you want to marry me, or I am going to be going across the country somewhere else to follow my dreams. So for him to ask me to be his wife the same day across the stage, it's like, he's like, I'm not even going to give you another option. You're packing your stuff up and you're coming with me. That's the kind of energy that I needed. So now we get into, how did I plan my wedding in 3 months? So why did we even decide to plan a wedding in 3 months? What was the point? Were we forced into this? Were we rushed? What were we doing? So going back to the conversation that we were having in the beginning, one of the things I also told him was that I don't want to be engaged for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I don't see the point. If we did all of this work to be together, you propose, I'm ready to be your wife tomorrow. I'm ready to wrap it up tomorrow. There's just no point, in my opinion. So after the engagement, Kobe and I had a conversation, and I'm just like, look, for me, it doesn't make sense. I personally didn't have a job post-grad lined up for me. So I didn't have the luxury, the ability to just move to Houston, move in to an apartment by myself and just be okay with that. I actually ended up moving here a week after I graduated, and I ended up staying with his family. And at that point, I was just like, you're literally 25 minutes away from me. I don't want to be living with your family. I want to be living with you. I want to be doing life with you. That's ultimately why I came to Houston. So we decided to have our wedding on March 14, 2024. And when I tell y'all, that was the most stressful time I ever had in my life. That was the most stressful time I ever had in my life. But it was also the most rewarding time I ever had in my life. So it was exactly 3 months from when we got engaged to when we decided to get married. We also got married on a Thursday in the middle of the school year, in the middle of a work week. Some people had spring break, some people didn't. And so we came into it knowing that a lot of people weren't going to be able to come to our wedding. A lot of people was going to RSVP and then just not show. We knew that a lot of family members weren't going to be able to take off work, but we ultimately knew whoever was going to be there was who needed to be there. When we planned the wedding, we used theknot.com. They really gave us a lot of details, a lot of help, a good timeline on how we needed to go about things, what we should have already been having figured out. And this is where God just played a really big part of our entire wedding, because there was no way that we were supposed to pay for this wedding. Let me figure out, I think I'm able to log into the Knot to see how much we paid for our wedding. So our wedding was March 14, 2024. It was located in Missouri. Our guest count was 100 to 150. And our budget at the time was $5,000 to $6,000. So we spent approximately a total of $5,670 on our wedding. And that is a blessing. That was also with the help of family, friends, strangers. That was also with some gifts that I got from graduating college. Just a bunch of things where God just really showed his hand in like us, our desire of wanting to be married. A few things. My brother, best photographer I know. rtwphotography.com or RTW Photography on Instagram, located in Orlando, Florida, or Atlanta, but is willing to travel. Yeah, did his big one, but he also did it for free. Cheers. Cheers for the brother. So he took a cost that would have been $5,000, $3,000, $5,000, and he brought it down to $0. God showed his hand. Our venue was only $2,100. That was our biggest price of everything. Our food was $961. We used a local Mexican restaurant that was located in Columbia, Missouri. God's hand, because it was enough. It was what was needed. We got it done, and it was fire. We bought our cake from Sam's, and it was just a personal cake for Kobe and I. Our videographer was one of my closest friends. Her name is Pat, and it was $500. This might be controversial to some folks, but I got my wedding dress from Amazon. It was like $180. Hey, I still was the finest thing walking. Let my husband tell it. God's hand. I also ordered my dress 2 weeks before my wedding date. Don't do that, but just letting you know how God's hand was in it the entire time, because my dress was not supposed to be there on time. It actually was delayed, but then it came and showed up on my doorstep. Me getting it tailored, it was not supposed to be done, but they rushed it. A lot of the decorations, we only spent $270 total on decorations. Shout out to my sister, because she know how to make something cheap look good, and that's all that matters. The save the dates were $100. Yeah, for a total we spent $5,600 on our wedding. I couldn't imagine waiting another year from December 15th when we got engaged to getting married. Personally, it didn't work out with my lifestyle and where I was headed, because I had just graduated, because he had already graduated. There was nothing else for us to wait on. So yeah, it's been 6 months of us being married. There's been a lot of things that we had to learn about each other. There's no way that you can 100% love your spouse until you're married. Unless you're listening to this and you're already moved in with each other, you're already doing the do, you already got kids, you already calling each other husband and wife. I mean, there's no judgment, but if you're listening to this and that's you might not agree. But for me, a follower of Christ, a daughter of the Most High, I believe 100% of what the Bible says. I didn't know Kobe 80% until we got married. He didn't know me 80% until we got married. And it's not because we both were withholding things from each other, but the intimacy, the love, being with each other closely every single day. You're seeing things that you wouldn't have saw. And I truly believe that God honored the fact that I was honest with myself, was honest with the Lord, was honest with Kobe, that I just couldn't wait. There's an argument out there that you need to get through a couple seasons with each other while you're dating before you could ever be married. And I get where you're coming from. However, I disagree. I think that the seasons are going to come no matter what. And I feel like that argument comes a lot from like, you needed to see them when something happens, something bad happens. You need to see their reaction when something like this happens. And I feel like waiting so long for something like that to happen is taking away from the time that you can be enjoying the good things. So when that does happen, you know your spouse well enough to know how they're to be loved on, how they react to things, how they don't react to things. You know them well enough in a more intimate setting to be able to talk to them a certain way that you wouldn't be able to talk to them before, or encourage them a different way that you wouldn't have been able to encourage them before. I think there's a big difference between dating and marriage. I think society tells us that there is no line in between. I think society merges the two, and I'm here to tell you, let's go back. It's okay to be a wife. I'm here to tell you that it's okay to be a follower of Christ. It's okay to be a daughter of the Most High. It's okay to dress modest. It's okay to be who you are, to figure out your purpose. It's okay to wait. It's okay to wait on sex. It's okay to wait for your person, the person that you know that you're supposed to be with. It's okay to not entertain them. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to get that first house by yourself. It's okay to live with your parents. It's okay to say no. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay for all of these things. Don't let the world or society tell you anything different. That was all about how Kobe and I got married in 3 months, why we got married in 3 months, our beginning of our relationship, our timeline, all the things. This is your friendly reminder to be unapologetic, be unique, and be you. That's all that we can do. Bye.